Yes, guys, welcome to the Talk of the Town podcast, where we're going to be discussing things that are happening in the ends. Today, I'm joined with Yousif, and we're going to do a little bit of talking. So, how you doing, bro? You right?
I'm not too bad, man. How are you?
I'm not too bad. And first of all, I'm trying to get the basics out of the way. What area are you from?
Well, I grew up in Newtown. I went to school in Aston, but I currently live in Rock. So basically, within the same.
Everywhere.
Yeah, basically a bit of everything.
Yeah, because obviously I grew up in Aston. I went to school in King's Standing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I got a mix of worlds, and obviously we grew up in similar areas. What is there to really do here? Like growing up, like I'm talking secondary school, or even after that college days. What was there to do?
I think I take it back a bit further. Like primary school, there was a bit to do then because I had after school clubs and play schemes and stuff to go to. But then once secondary school hit, there was literally nothing going on. And if it wasn't for some after school clubs and stuff like that, there'd literally be nothing else to do. So
I swear, because I've done the whole of secondary school with no extracurricular activities. You know, 2 years of college, nothing. Primary school was the only time I may have played football.
Yeah.
The only thing in primary school that was different, we had Aston Park, the little youth centre. So I used to go there, little table tennis here and there. But then they shut that down now. So I'm thinking they recently, the police said we've seized £3 million in crime related stuff. We're going to invest it back into the community projects. Do you think they really are? And if so, how should they do that? Because I don't agree with some of the stuff they say.
Oh, that's almost laughable because the way they operate now is all to meet quotas and stuff like that. So they don't really measure things in terms of how much progress is made within the communities or how much solutions they bring about. They only look at basically satisfying the
just ticking boxes, isn't it?
Basically,
they just want to tick box, say, "Oh, look, we done it. That's it now."
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But they're not actually making an impact in it.
Definitely not.
That youth centre, why on earth is that shut down? I used to see bare people in there. Just that's where you go. You finish school, secondary school, you go chill there. They had at the same place, Rising Stars Football Club.
Okay.
The development. Everyone was developing there. I had people on my road saying, "Yeah, go play there." I haven't seen anything. They're not active no more. You see their bus going around and stuff. I ain't seen nothing like that. So they keep shutting stuff down. So if it was me and I had that £3 million to spend, I'm going straight and I'm going youth clubs, but with incentives to it and maybe developing. I think sports is probably the best thing for stuff like that.
Definitely, because even for me, secondary school, the thing that I had going for me after school was there was some after school club things, but I was doing athletics training, and then later on I started doing a lot of football as well. So that kept me busy and kept me basically grounded and on the right path basically. But when people don't have even just one activity to do, what else is there to do other than just roam around and just getting into trouble, even if you're not intending it? Because sooner or later you're gonna do something that you're gonna.
When I was in secondary school and a bit of college, I boxed, so I did boxing.
Yeah.
And half the men in the gym were from the same positions. We got nothing to do, so we come here and now this is my ambition. This is what I train for every day. 4 days a week they're training in the gym.
Yeah.
The days off they're running. You know what I mean? And that gives them something to do. Everyone there was hungry and had the drive and a career plan for boxing.
But if there's even with that, I'd say the training and the discipline I got from that still affects me to this day because. Now I can focus on what I do as my day job or even the things I do on the side and make sure that even if things ain't going well or whatever, I still show up every day
literally.
And
I'm the same because when things get tough and I always think about quitting, I remember when I was doing them push-ups in the gym, there was no option to quit and it gave me success in the end, you know what I mean? So that does instill that, and it literally, the people in these things in coaching are father figures sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
For people that may have not had that and lack of, you know what I mean? For myself, I never had a father figure. After 12 years old, I lost my dad. So for me, it was just by myself going to the boxing gym. Now I've got them giving me that advice, arm round, and then there you go. But obviously, they're not investing heavily enough into it. I want to talk about football as well. Football, the pitches at Aston Park here. You see them pitches?
Yeah.
I used to see them climbing over the fences. They're big high fences to get in. But I feel like they should be 100% more accessible for the youth and for things to do with them.
Funny you mention that because I think it was from year 10, year 11 up until college, first year college. I used to every single Saturday we used to go to Aston Villa Kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to do the program there, and every single week we
at the academy building.
Not the academy building. This was on the pitches at Aston Park. The pitches on the side.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
So they used to open it up for us to do that, and everyone was there without fail every single week. Sometimes you see new faces as well, and then once you see them, they never go away as well.
Yeah,
so even things like that, just one session a week,
Literally.
it'll bring people together. But
Literally.
even that, I'm not. I can't remember if it's still going on, but like those are the sort of things that should be like the ideas that they should be bringing about. But
because I used to go to the the little school holiday things in the academy building.
yeah.
So I used to I used to go to them,
Yeah.
and when I think about it, it was a lot of money to just kick ball for a week. And I'm looking at the people that were there, and they're very well off. I'm seeing mums pull up in Range Rovers and stuff, and see that is so brilliant. What are kids doing on half term now? Chilling inside, watching Netflix or maybe scrolling through TikTok, doing nothing. Probably like it's not doing well on their mental health. Why shouldn't they should be more accessible for people like ourselves to be in them situations to go? Like I don't feel like it's right that there's a massive price on things now, and there's a price to pay before we can even do anything.
Like it's talking about like even my younger brothers, I've got them involved in football now, and there's two of them. They both play for for Sunday they play for the same team, but Saturday they both play for different teams. But even that, like, there's so many barriers to just to take part in.
Literally.
Because I remember there was some flyers like at match games. Sometimes like the coaches put flyers in the cars and stuff, and one guy put on I think it was like £60 a month. Like, who can afford £60? Like, even if you're on a high wage, like that's still a big expense.
Literally.
Like even the Sunday teams they're playing for, they're paying £25 a month, and they're getting 2 sessions and a game every week.
Yeah,
and you're asking for £60
yeah.
just for 1
My
hour.
last
Or
Sunday club, I paid £20 a month. That's it. Boxing, I paid £30 a month, and I was training 4 days a week. And then it's
and the
worth
thing
it.
is, like, if you cut it down per head, like and you look at all these different schemes and projects that they invest in that ultimately, up until this point, have failed. Like the amount of return you get on that, and the amount of people that you can get involved in the community and later on reinvest into the community, because how much you believed in them in those early stages is, you can't really put a figure to it. But that's,
I think we see it like when people go through stuff like trouble, it is mainly because they've got nothing to do, so they end up on the road doing something.
Yeah, and then once they're in the system, that's it.
That's it then. So how do you think like the lack of opportunity and lack of things to do for the youth in our ends like Aston, Newtown, Lozells has the effect on behaviour? Because I'm pretty sure the crime rates around here are pretty high, you know what I mean? Especially in like Newtown, like by the blocks and stuff, you hear stuff all the time, stuff in Aston all the time. Because what else do they have to do?
Like, till this day, I still know people that are still in and out the system because there's literally no opportunities. Like, there's nowhere to train for jobs. There's nowhere to even hear about what jobs you can do. There's nowhere to train. There's nowhere to train or gain new skills. There's no educational signposting. So like even I remember that same play scheme that I used to go to in primary school. They turned it into a behaviour centre for kids that get kicked out of school. So instead of going forwards, they took it backwards and said, you know what, we'll take all the trouble kids and bring them and put them all into one place where they can create even more trouble. Yeah. So like they're bringing different people from different areas that shouldn't really, like, I wouldn't say mixed together, but if they're mixed together for a good reason, okay.
They're just networking for a bad reason.
Basically, you know what I mean? And like even to this day, like those kids that have come out, they'll go back to their areas, and even though they went through the same centres as them, they'll be part of the same or different gangs and end up going back to each other and causing.
You know when it comes to schools, and like you get the bad behaved kids and stuff, they have so many skills that could be put to certain mad. Do you know how many people that I know could be sick businessmen, but their business is selling weed? And you know what I mean? If they get put into like, and obviously they feel the repercussions of it when they get caught or whatever, or even in schools. Because people used to do it at my school and get told, that's it, you're out of school now. But why don't we transfer the skills? I feel like education, the system it's outdated. I feel like personally, I feel like sitting down and wanting to become a doctor or a lawyer is for a certain type of person, but there's not enough push for creative roles. What are your thoughts on like schools pushing creative roles or the lack of?
Like when I was at school, when we was secondary school, there was quite a varied curriculum, I'd say, because you still had the option to do like things like RE, arts, design and technology, and I'm hearing they're cutting stuff like that back. And even though they're cutting those back, but they're not even. Those are the things that will allow people to flourish later down the line, because English, maths and science are going to get you into colleges or these different courses, but if you're not personally invested in them, you're not going to basically benefit and you're not going to be as committed to them later down the line, are you? So I think even with that, like, it's just there's failures at all levels really.
Because in my school we had a bag of academy ballers and people going on trial. But one thing they were never taught is how to maintain that and how to maintain a professional life, to be a professional player. We had people that were really like heavily invested in making a career in music, but there's no push. Now they're having to do that all alone. But like, see the careers, like people from our like a lot of people we see flourish now, like even rappers like Millions and Mist from Erdington. You know what I mean? They came from the same background as me. Like, you know, I went to school in them areas. Like, I was hanging around them areas.
Yeah, like a lot of boys, we were in the same school as them.
That's what I'm saying. So look how they did it, but there's no push on that. It's more just, oh, look at them, but let's focus on the academics. People are aspiring to be like them because they can see the success. Role models are important. And you know what I mean? Like you said, you went to the same school as a lot of boys. That's a role model for a lot of people. You know, I went to my school was in the same area where like Mowgli literally lived in behind my school. You know Mowgli? You know?
So you went NBA?
Yeah, I went NBA,
okay,
So literally, like, we see these are the role models. These are the people want to be like. The Nabi brothers played football professionally, went to my school, but there's no push for that. You know what I mean? So I feel like there needs to be a bigger push. But how would you go about that, though?
I think just like there's already I'd say the infrastructure to do it, but it's just the lack of, I would say, the drive really, and there's a lack of ideas coming from the people that should be leading these sort of things. And even if there's I'd say even on that side, if the people with the decision making powers don't come up with those ideas, empower other people that are in other positions to come up with ideas that will push not just your organizations but the wider community forward. So I think like even in schools, bring in like different, even in primary school they used to bring in like football coaches to do sessions weekly. So bring that sort of stuff back in, or bring in like like drama teachers, music teachers, not just the ones that you have in school, but bring in different people to give the kids like a new outlook on things and new ideas, so that okay, you know what, this like if they're not doing academically well, the teachers can then spot it and say, okay, you know what, they're better positioned to do these sort of things, so they can kind of start.
And you know what, with stuff like that, it only takes one person to change that.
Basic.
You always see that one teacher in your school, that one guy who's a mentor.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that get you the opportunities. They see that, and I feel like people, I'm not even just talking about just school, I'm talking in general, like people higher up or in power, they need to be more personable and offer that arm around the shoulder sometimes and guidance. But for a lot of people, they don't get the guidance, so they just end up doing the wrong things on the roads or whatever, or county lines. You hear it all the time now, you know what I mean? They teach you how to they teach you how to prevent it, but they don't teach you what to do without it, like, you know what I mean? So that's a big issue as well. So have you had a person like that, like a mentor that has just taken you out and saying, look, you're good at this? Because I've had mine recently, like very recently. Like so in my college at the moment, I'm studying health and social care. Education's not really for me, I'll be real. I've struggled the past 2 years because it's just not for me. I feel like I'm not built for education. So recently, one of my teachers who has taken the role of my mentor will weekly talk to me, get to know how I'm feeling, and we discuss my options. So now, instead of having just the option of college, she has shown to me 4 other pathways that I can go down.
Yeah.
That is huge value to me now, because if I didn't have her, it's just college, and if I fail that, then it's nothing. Have you had that person?
I'd say in my position, I've had like several people, but at different stages. So I'd say, like as I mentioned earlier, one of them was one of my athletics coaches that me and Emmanuel were talking about earlier. He from year 7 till I think it was year 10 or year 11, I was training with him weekly, and he was just so persistent with things, and that really rubbed off on me. I also had one of my PE teachers as well that got me into that, Mr. Brown. He was a big figure as well, because PE was one of my favourite subjects anyway. I ended up doing PE GCSE down the line, and he was the teacher, but he was my teacher for that as well, so he was always around as well. And then I think around college, I took part in with a program called Social Mobility Foundation. They gave me some mentors, because at the time I didn't know what to do. I was doing A levels, and even the A levels I picked on results day, because I chose a BTEC to begin with, and then I had better GCSEs than I expected. So my form tutor, she signposted us to this foundation, and then they gave us some mentors basically. And I had a solicitor as a mentor, I had a barrister, I was going down to London shadowing them, and that just blew open my eyes. And from there, that's where I'd say, like, I just took things from there because I knew, like, you know what, like, with hard work and determination, anything's basically possible.
Yeah.
And since then, like, even though I didn't go into law really, I did that at uni anyway. But after that, I took my own path, and I do a few different things now. But like, it's just having the exposure to that gives you that basically gives you that light bulb moment, and from there on, like, it's just basically in your hands to do what you want to do.
That's it. It's in your hands. I know we're coming to the end of this episode, so I'm just gonna ask you a final question. What is one thing about this area that you think needs 100% improving on? Aston, Lozels, Newtown. What is one thing?
I'd say just jobs. I'd say and training, and not just like low skilled as they call it, where they just train you up to be a cleaner or something, and you can just go on, like, having skills for the future that you can show your kids or your cousins or your family or even the people around you. So just being trained up and having I'd say, having the belief to just go out there and apply for jobs that traditionally people wouldn't expect you to do.
Yeah.
And like just having those high aspirations, really.
I'd say like the accessibility to these things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I think that there needs to be way more accessibility because I feel like there are opportunities out there, but we're not showcased them. Yeah,
like you see all these companies, they always go to these Russell Group unis and stuff to do their presentations and things, but like there's a lot of people in these areas that that aspire to do those sort of things as well, but you don't ever see them.
Probably more hungry too.
That's what I'm saying. Like people they'll only go to the people that are spoon fed already, like the silver spoon that have grown up in that privileged background. But then there's people that are hungry for opportunities here that get overlooked for everything, and then they end up having to just waste their lives on things that they don't really gain from, or just working minimum wage jobs that they can't really make. They can't prosper from, really. That they can't buy their houses. They can't buy even like they've got this clean air zone. People are driving 2006 cars. Like you can't even drive your own cars in your own area anymore.
Literally.
It's just I think it's the like catch-22 situation. Like things are just getting worse and worse.
Worse and worse. Yeah. But anyway, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, enjoyed
that. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast, Talk of the Town. If you got any suggestions for what we should talk about next, leave them in the comments below.